What's good, Steeler Nation? My name is Jack Sperry, and this is Steelers Talk. We have a fantastic news and rumors slate for you today, starting with TJ Watt. He is going to be back in Week 10. We will be going over his potential impact on the Steelers defense in the weeks to come. And then also Big Ben. He comments on the Pittsburgh Steelers offense and what he would do to make it better. Some of you have been saying that he could be the next offensive coordinator for the Steelers, so I'll be giving my thoughts on what he had to say. And then also the Steelers' second half storylines. I'll be giving you a couple things to watch out for in the second half of the year. But before we get into all the action, like this video right now if you are excited as I am to see TJ Watt, number 90, last year's Defensive Player of the Year, back out on the field in the black and gold in Week 10 versus the New Orleans Saints. I am psyched to see this guy out there, and if you are too, go ahead and like this video. Let's get into TJ Watt here, guys. He's still technically on IR, but it's pretty much a certainty at this point that he's going to be taken off and activated for this week's game against the Saints. And now we're just taking a look at his stats over the last couple of years where he has been a perennial Defensive Player of the Year candidate as one of the best and most ferocious pass rushers in the National Football League. Last year, 22.5 sacks. That's more than his tackle for loss rate, and he had one of the highest tackle for loss numbers in the National Football League there with 21. And then the last couple years also 15 sacks, 14.5 sacks, 13 sacks. This guy is a sack master. There's almost nobody in the National Football League that's better than this dude at getting quarterbacks on the ground, and I can't wait to see him back out there. Let's take a look at the depth chart at outside linebacker. TJ Watt's coming back this week. Alex Highsmith has been a pleasant surprise this season. Malik Reed, who was the starter before or while Watt was injured, was absolute hot garbage. He goes right back to the bench where he belongs. You got Anderson, you got Jones as well on that outside linebacker. And then let's take a look at the interior here of the defensive line. Cameron Hayward, obviously fantastic. Larry Ogunjobi is still hurt right now. You're hoping that he can play this weekend, but it's not looking fantastic on that front. Montravius Adams is the nose tackle. Leal is still on IR. Chris Wormley's been another surprise this season. He's been okay this year. I've actually been impressed with how Wormley has played in his limited action. And then Alualu and Loudermilk round out the rest of the defensive line there. And without TJ Watt this season, the Steelers have just been awful, guys. I don't have to tell you. 1-6 this season, and really the sack production has not been all that good with him out of the lineup. Let's take a look at the Steelers' defensive stats so far this year, and I want to draw your attention to the sack number. Okay, 15 so far, and that's number 26 in the league. And without TJ Watt in the lineup, we had a bunch of sacks that first week against Cincinnati. And without him, the Steelers have had one of the worst pass rushes in the National Football League, and they haven't really been able to generate a pass rush in almost any of the games that they've played. In the one game that they actually did, the Tampa Bay game, they won. So at the end of the day, the pass rush is such an important part of this Steelers defense, and this is a part of the scheme that they've been missing for such a long time. And because they're getting their sack master back, this defense is going to improve in the second half. I'm so excited to see what Alex Highsmith can do with TJ Watt on the other side. I think the entirety of that defensive line is just going to be so much more menacing and gross, and it's just going to be a lot better in the second half. I can't wait to see how it affects not only the pass rush and the sack and the pressure numbers, but also how it helps the secondary. Because without that pass rush, the secondaries had to hold up for longer, and plain simply, the talent's just not there right now, guys. This Steelers defense absolutely needs a ferocious pass rush to be successful, and they just haven't had it with TJ Watt out of the lineup. All right, guys, coming up, I am going to reveal and show you guys what Big Ben had to say on the Steelers offense, how he thinks that he can improve it. But first, a word from our sponsor at Established Titles, our sponsor for today's show here at Chat Sports. Established Titles is a fun and novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while also helping reforestation efforts around the world. It is a project based on a historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds, or lords and ladies in English. Title packs give you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land with a unique plot number on a private estate in Eddleston, Scotland, and an official certificate with a crest. We plant a tree with every order and work with global charities, One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future, to support global reforestation efforts. You could officially include the title Lord or Lady on your credit cards, plane tickets, dating profiles, or whatever, pretty much whatever else you want. It makes a great last-minute gift. The first 200 people purchasing a title pack using my link will effectively be next to my plot. Right now, I am Lord Sperry. I have a plot of land in Eddleston, Scotland, and I mean, it's just, you could get a plot of land next to mine. Depending on how many of you want to become a lord or lady, we can build our little Steelers kingdom together. It makes an amazing last-minute gift. Established Titles is actually running a massive Black Friday sale right now, guys, where they have like 80% off their title packs. You can get 80% off. And then also, if you go to establishedtitles.com/chat and use promo code chat, they're going to give you an additional 10% off your order. So not only are you going to get a discounted price for Black Friday, but you're going to get an additional 10% off because you watch Steelers Talk. So you got to go to establishedtitles.com/chat to get that additional 10% off and become a lord or lady today. Now let's get into Big Ben's comments on the Steelers offense. And these were very interesting because I'm not sure if I really agree with them, guys. Like, let's take a look what he had to say. He says, I'm throwing the ball deep on first, second, and third down. Like, I'm just playing. I'm letting it go. I'm not throwing the 5-yard pass. I'm not throwing the 3-yard pass. And essentially what he's saying here is he wants the Steelers to air it out. They want Kenny Pickett in this offense to just throw the ball deep all the time. And this is understandable for Big Ben because he was such a gunslinger. He loved to throw that deep pass, so it doesn't necessarily surprise me to hear him say this. But then last week, former Steelers head coach Bill Cowher, he said in a couple comments that he wants the Steelers to be more run-centric. He wants them to run the ball more. He wants them to shorten the game and really like bank on their defense and their defensive dominance with TJ Watt coming back. He wants them to run the football, and Big Ben is like, heck that, man. Let's throw the ball down the field. Let's chuck it. Now, I think I have to go with Cowher here, but I want you guys to let me know in the comments which philosophy you agree with. Do you agree with Big Ben Roethlisberger and say chuck it down the field, or do you agree with Bill Cowher and say be conservative, run the football? Type R for Roethlisberger, type C for Cowher. This is the pinned comment on today's video. So whenever you get an ad break on the video, just go in the comment section and put R or C for your answer. Now let's get into the Steelers' second half preview and my storylines to watch out for heading into the second half, the remaining 9 games of the Steelers' schedule. Number one, the biggest storyline for the Steelers by far this season is Kenny Pickett, the guy at the quarterback position. Now, I do have my concerns, guys. You guys know this. I'm not a big fan of the mental processing right now. He's not getting to his second, third, and fourth reads right now. He's skittish in the pocket. He doesn't step up in the pocket after his first read. It seems like he's afraid of pressure, to be honest. He doesn't have the best arm strength, so he needs to be exactly precise with his timing. Like, he doesn't have a howitzer like Josh Allen or Trevor Lawrence where he can just zip it in there and be late and still make it. Like, he has to actually have perfect timing to get these balls in there, particularly down the field. And it's really showing up on film. And then he has shaky pocket footwork as well, guys. He's throwing off his back foot a lot. It's very choppy. It doesn't look sound whatsoever. And then the small hands, playing in cold weather in the AFC North could potentially be a problem for him, especially if it's wet, windy, snowy, all those sorts of things. It could prove to be a problem in the future. But at the end of the day, guys, I'm rooting for Kenny Pickett to really prove himself in the second half of the year, and I think that he will. I think he will play well enough to get this team a couple more wins, and he's gonna make steps. He's gonna make some growth here. The offense is terrible. The offensive line is shaky, but I think he's going to rise above the adversity a little bit here. I think by next season, we are definitely going to be looking at Kenny Pickett as the guy in Pittsburgh at the quarterback position, but there's still the possibility that he's just absolutely terrible the rest of the season. He doesn't make any growth, and it's at that point where I think the Steelers might want to at least take a look at what else is out there. So this is the part of the show, guys, where I ask you guys, why did you click on this video? My guess is it's because you wanted some high-quality premium Steelers news and rumors content. And the good news for you guys is that that's exactly what we do here on Steelers Talk every single day. All right, so if you want high quality, free Steelers content every single day, consider subscribing to the channel here. We're only 200 subscribers away from 19K here. So if you want to be one of those 200 people that help us get over the top, subscribe to Steelers Talk by Chat Sports today. Number 2 on my list is William Jackson III. Is he going to be the new cornerback one? Is he going to be the top dog in that cornerback room for the future? Let's take a look at the cornerbacks on the Steelers right now. William Jackson III and Sutton are the starters with Mollett as the nickel. He hasn't been fantastic. And you also got Pierre, Witherspoon, Norwood, Wallace, and Jackson. Wallace and Jackson are hurt. And then William Jackson's actually still dealing with a back injury, and he didn't practice on Monday. So it'll be interesting to see if he'll be suiting up for the black and gold this weekend. But at the end of the day, he needs to prove that he is that dude. If he needs to prove that he can be that one-on-one man coverage on an island guy that really gets the ball moving. And at the end of the day, if he doesn't get this done, then the Steelers are probably going to be drafting a cornerback pretty early in next year's draft. All right, number 3 on my list is, will Pittsburgh get the run game going? It's no secret that the Steelers' run game has been atrocious this year. Najee Harris, I mean, people are calling this guy a bust right now. I can't believe what I'm seeing from him. I mean, I'm seeing him. I think his confidence is completely shot, guys. I see him get the ball, and he just doesn't know what to do with the football. He's like dancing. He's not being aggressive whatsoever. And I think his confidence has been completely shot. So hopefully, over the bye week, he's taken some time, and he's been able to really connect with what makes his game great, which is the size and speed combination. And I'm hoping that he can come into the second half of the year and really show some good things. But if he doesn't, Jaylen Warren has shown some really good things this season as the back or the number 2 running back. On third downs, he's been fantastic. Now, at the end of the day, his numbers are better, but he has seen lighter boxes because usually when Warren's in the game, it's an obvious passing situation, and defenses are playing 2 high safeties, which is 1 less man in the box to defend against the run. So that's definitely going in Warren's favor in terms of his overall production. But at the end of the day, if Najee just isn't very good and he's not getting it done, you got to give Warren more carries. And I expect to see Warren get probably at least 40% of the carries this week, which is a significant increase from where it was at the beginning of the season. And my final storyline to watch out for the rest of the 2022 campaign is, what will the Steelers' final record be? It's very interesting because the Steelers' schedule, it softens up quite a bit here. They had their tough games with Buffalo and Miami and Philly. Now it's kind of on the easier side. You got the Saints this week, then the Bengals, which I actually think is a winnable game because the Bengals, they have a bad offensive line, and we already beat them this year, and they're vulnerable to teams with good pass rushes, and the Steelers definitely have that. Then the Colts are a complete mess right now. Same thing with the Falcons, bad defense there. I think with the Ravens, it's possible to split with them. I'm not sure if a sweep is possible against Baltimore. They're pretty darn good. And then Panthers, they're in shambles right now. The Raiders are in shambles. And then you finish out the season with the Browns. And who knows how Deshaun Watson's going to be playing. I mean, he didn't play well in the preseason. So is he still going to be trying to kick off some of that rust at that point in the season? I think the Steelers have 8 winnable games here. But the question is, will they win those? Will they win those games? Will they win every single game that they can win? I mean, based on what I've seen from the offense and Matt Canada and all these things that have been going on this season, I would say it's pretty unlikely that the Steelers all of a sudden turn into situational masters here and win all of their close games, win all the games that they're supposed to win, split with Baltimore, all these things that need to happen. So the playoffs are possible. Like, they can win these games, no question. All these games are pretty much winnable. I just think it's highly unlikely that if Matt Canada sticks around on offense, it's going to be tough to really get this team where it needs to go offensively, particularly late in games in those situations. So for my final season prediction here, I'm going to say the record's going to be 7-10. So with this, they're going to be above 500 in the second half of the year. I have them going 5-4 for the final 9 games. And just given everything that I've seen so far with Pickett's struggles, but TJ Watt's coming back and all these things that are happening, I just think that there's still going to be a couple games where the Steelers are going to be like, man, we should have won that game. We should have won that game, but we didn't. So I think I think at the end of the day, they will get 5 wins. I think it'll be enough to move up further in the draft, like move back enough where they're not even thinking about quarterback, and Kenny Pickett's going to be the guy next year. But at the same time, it's going to be like, we left some wins out there on the table as well. So I think this is a pretty modest and fair evaluation, 7-10 by the end of the year. I think that's probably where the Steelers are going to end up. I hope for something better. I hope that they can pull a rabbit out of their hat and maybe make a run for the playoffs, God forbid. But I don't really want to get my hopes up too much. I'm not sure if I want to get hurt again. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think that the Steelers still have a shot at the playoffs? Predict the Steelers' final record in the comment section below. The schedule definitely softens up, guys. So I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of you are like, yeah, we could do this. We could make this run. But at the end of the day, I'm not sure it's going to happen, guys. I need to see them rattle off a couple more wins before my hope really starts to get up. But at the end of the day, go predict the Steelers' final record in the comments section below. And before I say goodbye today, I want to put a little pitch out there for you guys to go follow me on Twitter. This is where I put all of my Kenny Pickett film analysis out there. So if you want to learn more about football, if you want to learn more about the Steelers offense, if you want to learn about all these other things, plus if you want live reactions to every single Steelers game before our post-game show here on Steelers Talk, then go follow me on Twitter, or at least consider it here at the end of the show. I appreciate you, Steeler Nation, and until next time, peace.